Imagine letting someone crash at your place out of kindness, and they turn your home into a nightclub that smells like an ashtray. Yeah, that happened. But instead of yelling or kicking her out, I got clever. Real clever. If you've ever had someone completely disrespect your space, your boundaries, or your kindness, hit that like button and subscribe, because this is the story of how I took back my power. One locked door and changed password at a time. You know that feeling when you agree to something small, and it snowballs into a full-blown nightmare. That's what happened when my sister-in-law, Katie, showed up at our door, suitcase in hand, mascara smudged from crying, claiming she just needed a few days to cool off after a massive fight with her boyfriend. I'll admit it, I felt bad for her. She looked emotionally wrecked, and even though we've never been particularly close, I thought maybe this could be a chance to support her. Family, right, so I said sure, she could stay. But before she unpacked even a sock, I laid down a few house rules. Simple, respectful, reasonable. Clean up after yourself. No blasting music after 10 p.m. Absolutely no smoking inside. Katie looked me dead in the eye and said with a sweet smile, "Of course. I totally get it, promise." And for the first 48 hours, it seemed like maybe she meant it. But then reality showed up, and so did the smell. Conflict escalation. From guest to gremlin. By day 4, I walked into my living room and immediately felt like I had just stepped into a dive bar at 2 a.m. The stench of cigarette smoke clung to the air like an unwanted house guest, seeping into the curtains, the couch, even the damn cushions. I gritted my teeth. Maybe she just stepped out of line once. Then I noticed the growing mountain of dishes in the sink, crusted with old pasta and something that looked like it might have once been soup. The garbage, overflowing. The laundry, piling up, and the worst part, around 11:30 p.m. that night, I was jolted awake by bass thumping through the walls. Katie's Bluetooth speaker was in full swing, blaring some EDM remix like she was trying to summon a rave. I got out of bed, wrapped in my robe, exhausted, and knocked on her door. She opened it, not the least bit guilty. Just smiled and said, "You're starting to sound like your mom." Then she shut the door in my face. That was the moment. That was when something in me snapped. Not in a rage, but in a clarity kind of way. You want to act like this isn't my house? Cool. Let's see how much you like it when I treat it like my house, and you like a guest who's overstayed her welcome. Turning point. Silent but tactical. The next morning, I got up early. No confrontations, no screaming, just quiet action. First, I logged into the router and changed the Wi-Fi password. Then, I went out to the laundry room and padlocked it. That's right, no clean clothes for the Queen of Chaos. Finally, I took the spare keys to the front gate and hid them where not even I could find them without effort. By lunchtime, I was enjoying my coffee in silence. No music, no smoke, just blissful peace. Then I heard it. "Hey, is the Wi-Fi down?" Katie poked her head out from her room, phone in hand, clearly annoyed. I looked up calmly and said, "Oh? I figured since you weren't following house rules, you didn't really need house privileges either." She blinked. "Wait, what?" I sipped my coffee. "You don't clean. You smoke inside. You play music like it's Coachella. So, no Wi-Fi, no laundry, no gate keys." Seemed fair. She didn't respond, just stood there, mouth slightly open, stunned. Revenge execution, the silent siege. For 2 straight days, Katie sulked around the house like a punished teenager. No Netflix, no TikTok, no freshly washed outfits to show off on her Instagram stories. She even had to wait for me to come unlock the gate when she left. She started cleaning, not all at once, of course, but like a kid trying to earn their screen time back. The sink got cleared, the ashtray she sneakily used, gone. By day 3, she came to me, eyes low, and said, "Okay, I cleaned the kitchen. Can I get the Wi-Fi password back? I leaned back on the couch, smiled, and said, Sure, but only if you say the magic words. She blinked. What magic words? I grinned wider. Say it with me. I will follow the Queen's rules in the Queen's castle. She stared at me like I had lost my mind, but I didn't flinch. I just waited. And finally, with all the enthusiasm of a child being forced to apologize after shoving their sibling, she muttered, I will follow the Queen's rules. In the Queen's castle. Louder, I said. She sighed, then repeated it, a little clearer. I nodded, then handed her the password like I was granting a royal pardon. Long live the Queen, I said. She didn't laugh, but I did. Pay off, the behavior adjustment. It's been 3 weeks since that moment. And guess who's been on their best behavior? Katie now wipes down the counter after using it. She asks before using the speaker. She smokes outside, like a grown adult. It was never about dominance. It was about respect. And the best part, I didn't have to yell. I didn't have to fight. I just let the house rules enforce themselves, the hard way. Watching her squirm without her usual comforts was chef's kiss. It wasn't about being mean. It was about mirroring her own behavior back at her. She thought my boundaries were suggestions. I turned them into consequences. When she muttered that ridiculous line about my house being a queen's castle, I knew I had won. Not because I got her to say something silly, but because she finally acknowledged who was really in charge. And let me tell you, she's never disrespected my space again. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's smart, it's calculated, and it lets the other person teach themselves a lesson. People like Katie don't respond to kindness, they respond to limits. And once those limits were clear, everything changed. If this story gave you chills or even a little evil grin, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest but most effective revenge you've ever witnessed? And don't forget to subscribe. I've got plenty more stories where justice is served cold and satisfying.